than 40% of black women in America right now are single. It's a pretty big number. There's still plenty of debate over the reasons why that is. One author, though, says the solution could be as simple as black women dating white men, looking outside their race to find a life partner. Check out the title of the book, though. Don't Bring a White Boy Home. Okay, we're going to tackle that, all right? And Karyn Langhorn Folan joins us live from Washington, D.C. All right, welcome, Karyn.
Hi, Rochelle. How are you?
Oh, I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Okay, now, just so we can have a discussion and get as many ears to listen as possible, I need you to explain the title of the book for anybody who might be put off, and then we can go for it. Explain that title.
Well, the full title is Don't Bring Home a White Boy and Other Notions That Keep Black Women from Dating Out. And it comes from, I think a lot of us who were born between like 1960 and 1975, around the time that schools were being integrated and so on. Our parents moved to white neighborhoods. We went to school with white kids. We worked with white people. But there was a line drawn when it came to romance. So it comes from a statement that many black daughters have heard from their parents or in their community. Do everything you want, just don't bring one home.
Okay, what?
What's going on YouTube? What was the social and political climate for black people in 1965? Okay, when we were on that Black Panther pro-black tip, okay, were black women checking for white men? And were white men checking for black women? Or did we still dislike each other? Were we still on some F you type of tip? You know, when we were integrating, how many people said, hell no, we don't want black kids here? Okay? How many, old documentaries do we see where it's, some middle school or high school and there's a whole bunch of white kids throwing, pencils and erasers and milk cartons at the black students who were forced to integrate? Were they friends? Were they buddies? Were they hanging out? Were they having fun? The whole idea of white flight, where did that come from? Once they started to, let blacks and other minorities start to integrate into their schools. And they said, hell no, we're going to move. So if you just look at basic standard history, right, do you really think black women were checking for white men and vice versa? Really? She comes on and says that it wasn't happening because mommy and daddy said no. Okay, and she doesn't even talk about how, what did the white side feel? Were they just willing and able? The sad thing is she throws her black parents under the bus, right, by acting as if they're the ones who are opposed to it, as if white people were just saying, yo, la-di-da-di-da, it doesn't matter, love is love. She didn't even say, I understand black parents said they didn't want it, but on the flip side also, white parents didn't want it either. So white men and black women, have been having this forbidden love. If you're going to lie, at least lie correctly. Or if you're going to make something up, go all the way. Don't just stop and throw black parents under the bus and say, if it wasn't for black parents saying don't bring home a white man, we would have been doing it as far as 1965. As if, white people were completely open with black people. As if, racism still wasn't in its prime, its golden era, so to speak. And as if, black men were already doing it. I'm sure if the interview was longer, there was only like 2 more minutes, but I'm sure if it was longer, she probably would have said, black men, they've been interracially dating since 1965. As if looking at a white girl still wouldn't get you beat up or arrested. Right? Or, Lord knows if some backtown sort of state that, they may have, killed you. Right? But yet we were doing it, since then. Black parents in 1965 said it was okay for, black men to, bring home white girls. Right? As if, the white people were trying to fit into our world. And somehow white Americans said it was okay for, white women to be involved with black men. So on both sides of the coin, it was okay for black men to run off, but for black women, we were forever held down. And I'm like, yo, for real? Forget even throwing black men under the bus. You're going to throw black parents under the bus? Really? You're going to throw people who actually went through hardships in the night, during that time frame under the bus and act as if it was just okay. White and black people were cool. They were just hanging out, having fun. I mean, I don't even know what to say, right? Because I'm like, yo, you should be smarter than this. Apart from her really trying to make money, I refuse to believe that she's that stupid to make that sort of implication. I refuse to believe it. I'm crossing my fingers and I'm praying that she's just only trying to make money. I hope she really doesn't believe that it was black parents barring the way. I mean, y'all listen to it again. Shout out to King Senecalese again, because I've heard of this book before, but I saw the clip on your channel. Okay, so I'm gonna post the link to your channel where you have it posted, but I'm sure it's on other places on YouTube and on the internet. But y'all just look at it and really break it down. The sad thing is, when people sound articulate, you want to believe everything they're saying, but it was the biggest piece of bullshit I've ever seen in my life. I can understand if she said 1980 or 1990, but she said 1965. As if there was no Black Panther movement, as if there was no civil rights, jump-offs going off across the U.S. and black people were trying to, get to where they needed to be, and as if black men and women were already fighting in 1965, trying to kill each other, right? And black women were just trying to find love, and white men were already down with it. Their parents were just completely open to their interracial romance, but it was black parents that said, oh no, whatever you do, don't bring home a white man. Completely throwing the black climate underneath the bus just to make a point, just to try to sell a book, or just to somehow, convince people or convince other black women that white men have always desired them. And the sad thing is, once again, you never see white men co-signing anything. Where are they? Where are they? It's always black women doing all the talking, all the defending, this and the third. Where are they? And I've already said, I have more respect if I knew that there was white men out there actually coming through and co-signing what's going on. Please bring a white man that's going to co-sign, yes, in 1965, I love the black woman and my parents were completely open to it. It was just more so black parents that denied their daughters the right for us to form our beautiful family and our beautiful relationship. It's really sad, it's really sad. I mean, I don't even know if I'm going to post this one because I feel like I should be attacking this a little bit more. But I'm about to go out, and I just wanted to get this off my chest now because it would ruin my night out. Just thinking about what I just saw. So excuse me if it wasn't my best videos, but y'all look at it yourself. And you don't even have to watch the whole 3 minutes. Watch the first minute and 20 seconds where she's talking about in 1965 to 1975. As if black boys and black girls in our schools across America were holding hands and, jumping rope together and chasing each other. And it was the black parents who said, no, you can't find love, little black girl. So sad. Y'all take it easy. God bless.